Yan Jingxi raised her chin, and the tip of her index finger slid down from the bridge of his nose. Slowly, she moved closer to his chest, and her soft body fell into his arms. Actually, I don't like eating with Feng Rulu and Feng Jiao Jiao. They are all relatives of Feng Ruyan and Yan Rui. Lu Muqing looked at her with pity and said, "It turns out that her silence and indifference does not mean that she did not understand, but because she wouldn't get hurt. When I was little, they often bullied me." Yan Jingxi subconsciously wrapped his arms around his back, feeling his breath just within reach. After saying that, he hugged Yan Jingxi tightly, returning her hug. "Okay, Xiaoxi, I'll take you back and rest, okay?" Looking at him so closely, the pores on his face are very fine, and his facial features are delicate, especially his rosy lips. Because they are slightly open, they are particularly sexy. She touched them just now, and they are very soft, as if they were held in her hand. It seems that as long as she kisses him, a fairy tale will begin, and there will be no pain and bullying from then on. Lu Muqing was in a trance for 3 seconds and felt her jerky tongue trying to squeeze into his lips. He looked deeply at the small face that was expanding in front of his face. She put her arms around his back and exerted force, raising her neck. Then her soft lips covered his lips. Yan Jingxi closed his eyes. His eyelashes were very long and they were trembling slightly. Perhaps she couldn't get in, so she gave up and just traced along his lips, sometimes holding them in her mouth. This was the first time she took the initiative to kiss him. She was very awkward, but her tongue was very soft, with the rich fragrance of red wine. Lu Muqing's Adam's apple rolled. His face was calm, but the strength of his embrace on her waist was deepening. "Now you don't mind that I'm your fiancé's uncle?" Lu Muqing asked, as if he wanted to hear her affirmation in person. There was a firm strength in his eyes as he looked at her, domineering and flamboyant. Yan Jingxi blinked, and her brain had a small capacity after drinking alcohol, and it became a single-celled animal. Whatever he asked, she answered it. She blurted out, "It's impossible for me to marry Lu Yuran. How could you be the uncle of my future husband?" Lu Muqing smiled, his eyes showing excitement. "You're right." He put his right arm around her waist to prevent her from falling and supported her head with his left hand. Because he was too tall, his back was slightly bent, completely covering her in his shadow. He looked at Yan Jingxi with burning eyes and asked, "Why do you kiss me? Do you like me?" Yan Jingxi was confused for a moment. He tilted his head and looked at Lu Muqing. His mind was blank. "Do you like him? Do you like him?" "Like? Who likes whom? What do you like?" "I like money. I like making money, like Anjiang and Chen and Xiao Xiao from the welfare home. I like to eat a big meal without worrying about the price and eat whatever I want." "She is so cute like this." Lu Muqing looked at her cute appearance, and a surge of blood rushed to his mind. He lifted her chin with his left hand and took the initiative to kiss her lips. "I can't stand this restlessness any longer." One bite at a time, just like eating ice cream. Once he entered her lips, she also took the initiative to interact with him. Lu Muqing closed his eyes. Yan Jingxi didn't understand this. "In short, my head felt heavy. I felt heavier and dizzy. After Lu Muqing kissed her lips, she suddenly fell asleep." "Zhao Xi? You woke me up, but you just fall asleep alone?" At the same time, a certain room in the hotel. Feng Jiao Jiao is getting more and more annoyed the more she thinks about it. "Cousin Yan Rui, did you know that after Yan Jingxi went out, President Lu also went out and never came back, so the dinner party ended up being aborted?" "Listen. It seems you are right. Yan Jingxi is indeed seducing Mr. Lu." Snort. The more Lu Yuran thought about it, the more jealous he became. "Uncle, you are using your status as an heir to pressure me. I want to see if Grandpa will still let you take over Lu Corporation after he finds out that you, as the uncle, are dating your niece's wife." Appartement Shilin. Lu Muqing put the water cup on the table, lifted Yan Jingxi up with his left hand, let her lean on his arms, put the medicine in his right palm, and comforted her softly. "This is a hangover medicine. Take one and have a good sleep. My head feels so heavy, I just know that it is Lu Muqing who is taking care of me." Her whole body was weak. She glanced at Lu Muqing weakly, lowered her head, and slid her cold red lips across his warm palm. Her tongue dipped the medicine and put it into her mouth, leaving some wet marks in his palm. Come on, open your mouth. Lu Muqing's palm was itchy because she licked it, so he picked up the water cup and handed it to her mouth. Yan Jingxi drank the water obediently and swallowed the medicine. I don't even have the strength to speak. Lu Muqing put her on the bed and covered her with the quilt carefully. Sleep well. Even if you want to drink from now on, I will never allow you to drink again. Lu Muqing promised, patting her gently twice. Yan Jingxi felt more at ease than ever before and slowly closed her eyes. He sat on the edge of the bed and staring at the delicate face lying on the bed, sleeping peacefully. She lay there quietly, without any fox-like cunningness, and looked like a sleeping beauty, gentle and peaceful. Lu Muqing's eyes softened slightly. After Lu Muqing kissed her forehead, she stood up, closed the door, and went out. Ugh, my body feels a little restless. This night is really hard to endure. After coming out, it was like riding a roller coaster, a little dazed. Every time he was close to her, his heart would beat faster and his body would tense up. Ugh, so heavy. She felt uncomfortable in her chest as if something was churning in her stomach, but it just couldn't come out. What's going on? Xiaoxi, it is very dangerous to have a man next to you when you are drunk. Huh? Lu Muqing kissed Yan Jiangxi's flat stomach. She snorted softly, frowned, and slammed her feet on the bed, making a pong sound. Lu Muqing, are you crazy? I've never been this crazy before. You two uncle and nephew are both perverts. Yan Jingxi fell asleep, woke up in a daze, and opened his eyes. He found himself falling out of bed. A picture suddenly flashed into her mind. Yan Jingxi scratched her messy hair with both hands, frowned in disbelief, and her eyes flickered. Ah! Why would I have such a weird dream? It was terrible. They said that drinking would cause trouble. Sure enough, her brain was itchy, and she thought his lips were delicious food. How would Lu Muqing look at her? Would he think that she was deliberately throwing herself into his arms again? Drink some water to calm down. I remembered. I was drunk yesterday and Lu Muqing sent me back home and gave me some hangover medicine. Yan Jingxi looked at the empty glass in a daze, with a moist mist in her eyes, sparkling and cold, and her heart seemed to be wet. Except for the serious illness when I was 10 years old, I had Aunt Zhang's caring care. For the past 24 years, whether she had a fever or a cold or fell ill in bed, she had endured it all by herself. No one took care of her, no one asked her how she was doing, and no one would feed her medicine or cover her with a blanket. I remember one time Feng Zhaozhao and Yan Rui wanted to get her drunk, and she pretended to be drunk and crazy, but she was really drunk, dizzy, uncomfortable, and depressed, venting all her anger. As a result, she was locked in the bathroom for the whole night. Yan Rui and Feng Zhaozhao were both sick, and she actually caught a cold from the cold. Others had their parents to take care of them, but she was alone. Feng Ru would not buy her medicine, so she could only secretly take Yan Rui's cold medicine and hide the medicine that Yan Rui didn't want to take, so that she could take it in case of emergency. Now, for the second time, she felt the warmth of being taken care of, and it would be a lie to say I wasn't touched. But this kind of warmth can also make people dependent or even addicted. The rumbling sound from her stomach cut off her wild thoughts very well. Yan Jingxi touched her stomach and got up from the bed. She saw her bag on the table, took out her mobile phone, and looked at the time. It was only 8 o'clock. Oh no! I forgot to make breakfast! She went out of her room. All the lights outside were on. She looked at the living room downstairs and looked around. She didn't see Lu Muqing. Yan Jingxi went downstairs and she sniffed. It smelled so good. She subconsciously walked to the kitchen, held the door frame, and leaned over to see Lu Muqing with his back to her, straight and upright. She stood on tiptoe, stretched her neck, and looked at what was burning on the gas stove. Lu Muqing is cooking porridge? Who is actually the household assistant and who is the employer? Lu Muqing cooked porridge, and next to the gas stove there was cooked beef and shredded carrots. Yan Jingxi raised her bright eyes and licked her lips. She didn't expect Lu Muqing to do this. It was inconsistent with his usual noble and elegant demeanor, but it made her feel a little warm in her heart. Please stay awake, Yan Jingxi. What are you thinking about? Yan Jingxi suddenly thought of her kiss again, her face flushed slightly. She was about to walk over when she saw Lu Muqing turn off the fire, take out his mobile phone from his pocket, and answer the call. Hey baby, what's wrong? Lu Muqing's tone was unusually gentle. Yan Jingxi paused, her heart suddenly sank, and she looked at Lu Muqing's back in disbelief. Baby? Such an intimate tone. Is that his girlfriend? Her brain was not working yet, and her heart seemed to be frozen in an instant. The blood flowing out of it was also cold, penetrating her whole body. Lu Muqing turned the porridge over, checked the softness, chuckled, and said in a softer voice, If you are good and obedient, I will come to see you when I am not busy here. Yan Jingxi's legs, which were about to step out, retracted and leaned against the wall outside the kitchen. Her beautiful eyes glanced towards the direction of the kitchen, which was a little misty. Of course I love you. If I don't love you, who else can I love? The one I love the most is my baby. Lu Muqing turned off the gas and smiled helplessly. What are you thinking about in your little head? There are not so many vixens. You must have read too many strange stories from a Chinese studio. Well, I promise, I will come back to see you when I'm free. I will definitely miss you every day, okay? Yan Jingxi stood motionless at the door, listening to Lu Muqing's gentle and magnetic voice, as well as the smile and indulgence that he couldn't help revealing during the conversation. Lu Muqing coaxed, Be good. It's still early for you, so sleep a little longer. Only when you get enough sleep will you have the energy to bother me. Okay, bye. Lu Muqing hung up the phone. The smile and affection he showed were something I had never seen before. A man like Lu Muqing has already experienced a lot of scenery and appreciated countless women. He will not be exclusive to anyone. I don't know what was hitting my mind. There was a breath that was suppressed in my throat. I couldn't breathe, so I felt that the thin air around me made me feel suffocated. Some people are very good, even perfect and impeccable, but his kindness is not directed at just one person, nor does it come from love. He only teases me on a whim. If you mistakenly regard his goodness as love, then you can't blame others for your sadness in the future. That's good. I stopped myself from going too far before I got too deeply involved so as not to be hurt too badly. Yan Jingxi turned around and walked into the living room in a daze. She didn't feel hungry anymore. She sat on the sofa, opened her eyes, and looked at the white ceiling. Her beautiful eyes were full and fixed. Her mind kept circling the words that Lu Muqing had just said to others. Woke up? Lu Muqing's gentle voice with a smile entered her ears. Hearing his voice, Yan Jingxi remembered that he called the person on the other end of the phone baby, and her heart was still a little sour and bitter. Are you hungry? I cooked porridge. Eat some, Lu Muqing said. Porridge. Yan Jingxi didn't want to eat what he cooked and deliberately said distantly, I have to go to class now, so Mr. Lu, please don't worry about me. Preview next chapter. I don't like you. I'm sorry if that kiss made you misunderstand me. I apologize. Yan Jingxi explained, trying to pry open the fingers that were holding her hand. He suddenly raised the corner of his mouth, tightened his grip on her wrist, pulled her into his arms, put his right hand around her waist, and asked, wickedly, So do you think an apology will work? Can I kiss anyone? Before she said these words, Lu Muqing leaned over and his warm lips covered her cold lips, blocking the decisive words she was about to say. Yan Jingxi's slender body paused, feeling her strong, masculine aura attacking her aggressively.